Welcome to all the viewers of Alternative 21 Youth for Nature on the eve of World Environment Day. I am Vinay Shinde, delighted to welcome all the viewers, participants for this World Environment Day Consciousness Social Awareness Program. Just to give a quick background about Vimove Foundation, Foundation work towards holistic development of education in rural school with the support of corporate. We are also focusing on social innovation where there's a technology involved, and the social awareness is another objective of Foundation. Today, what we are seeing, Alternative 20 is one such example of social awareness initiative where we are bringing all the youth change makers of this country, environmentalists, social entrepreneurs, and the activists, bringing into one single platform to spread the awareness on the occasion of environment. So I'm welcoming all the participants of this Alternative 21 for this social cause. This year theme on United Nations World Environment Day is ecosystem restoration. I feel this theme is so relevant that human beings are part of the ecosystem. We cannot survive in isolations. Every day we are witnessing how coronavirus is being impacting human lives. It is an alarm to all the youth. Youth are the backbone to the nation. They need to take care of this environment, healthy ecosystem. Today, what you are going to witness the program is you are going to hear their voice through Green Talks, and also you are going to hear their discussion through a relevant topic on Alternative 21. Let me introduce and welcome two important young inaugural guest speaker for today evening. The first speaker she is a dynamic young IAS officer, and she is holding presently portfolio as director in Department of Pre-University Education, efficient administrator. Prior to that, she was the managing director for HESCOM. So we have with us Snehal Raimane to deliver inaugural bites for Alternative 21. In addition to that, we have one more speaker, the man who knows for delivering positive news in India. We have with us the founder and the CEO of The Better India, Dhimant Parekh, with us to deliver the bites. Let me close my welcome note saying we all citizens equally responsible for taking care of protecting our environment. At the same time, the time has come, we all of us needs to demonstrate humanities towards COVID-19 affected families. So this World Environment Day, Alternative 21, it is much beyond spreading the awareness. So please join hands for social cause, Alternative 21, Youth for Nature.
Hello everyone, I am Snehal R, Director, Pre-University Education, Government of Karnataka. I am very happy to be part of the World Environment Day celebrations by Vimove Foundation. Alternative 21, Youth for Nature, is a wonderful initiative. It gives all the youth who are working in the field of environment a wonderful platform to showcase what they have done, and also to inspire the youth to look up to these young entrepreneurs and learn from them to care for the environment. As we all know, the earth has enough to fulfill all our needs. However, there is not enough to fulfill our greed. Year after year, our actions have led to several natural disasters. We have seen tsunamis, we have seen multiple cyclones, including the recent Tauktae. We have also seen the pandemic, which has created a havoc in our life over the last 1.5 years. It's time we all recognize that environment is each one of our responsibilities. It is our actions that matter, and each one of us will have to put in our efforts to restore and recreate our environment so that we live in a healthier ecosystem. And this is the theme of the United Nations Environment Day celebrations this year, to restore and recreate and redesign the ecosystems so that the ecosystems that we live in are a much better place. We all have heard of Sri Sundarlal Bahuganaji, who was an environmental activist who, since the 1970s, worked towards protection of the trees and the Himalayan ecosystem. In our own Karnataka, we have seen Srimati Salumarada Timmaka, who has worked for several years and planted so many thousands of trees to protect the environment. Each of their actions has made our society a better place. Now it's our turn to ensure that we do our bit to save the environment. We could take very small steps, from carrying our own bags to the malls when we go for shopping, to carry our own water bottles, to walk instead of use the car or bike, to probably ensure that we are planting more trees, and we are also trying to reduce our consumption patterns of multiple technological gadgets, electrical gadgets, as well as unnecessary goods that we keep hoarding in our homes. So these are some of the methods that we can do. A lot of young entrepreneurs are working on this field, and we have a few of them showcased on this program today. I wish that all these entrepreneurs who are presenting the work that they have done, they will not just inspire the youth, but they will also be mentors to a lot of youth, and they will mentor these youth to become environmental activists. I wish all the viewers of this program by Vimove a wonderful and responsible World Environment Day. I congratulate Shri Vinay Shindeji and the entire team of Vimove for bringing in activities and programs which are socially responsible and meaningful. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Deeman Parekh, founder of The Better India. On this World Environment Day, I'm really glad to see this initiative, Alternative 21, organized by Team Vimo Foundation. You will, later during the day, get to listen to 7 youth changemakers, and I'm really looking forward to their conversations. Today, as we see all around, the impact of our actions is clearly visible on the environment. Rise in air pollution, decreased forest covers, global warming, climate change, it is all happening. And to combat this, we not only need large-scale government intervention, but also a huge effort by every one of us, especially the youth, to come forward and join hands to combat this. There are numerous stories of individuals who've shown us that it is indeed possible for us to preserve and nourish our environment. I want to share a few of these stories to inspire us all. The first story is from Nagaland, and it's about Nuklu Foam, who is an environmentalist who has managed to increase the number of migratory falcon birds visiting his district from 50,000 to over 1 million. Then we have from Tamil Nadu, where Forest Range Officer S. Satish has worked for over 5 years to mitigate poaching, saving over 40,000 turtles, and carrying out underwater plastic waste cleanups, which has led to the protection of over 100 acres of forest area. The other inspiring story is that of marine biologist and former professor Dr. Manta Ram Murthy, who has turned a 3-acre waste barren ground into a very thriving green area. And that green area has over 2,000 plant species now. We also have a story from Hyderabad, Meghna Musumuri, who is a founder and director of a school in Hyderabad and has worked with 100 students to revive a lake in Hyderabad, directly affecting the lives of over 9,000 locals. These are just a few of the thousands of stories of people coming forward to make our environment better for ourselves, our neighbors, our communities, and our country. Let us take the pledge to do our bit for the environment, reduce our consumption, recycle as much as possible, and reuse most of the things that we buy. Without our environment, we are nothing. Thank you.
Hello and good evening, everybody. I welcome you to this event on World Environment Day. I thank Vimovi Foundation for giving me this opportunity. I am Dhruvam Patil, an environmentalist, wildlife photographer, and founder of Society for Protection of Plants and Animals. We're here today on World Environment Day to reflect on how we can give back to Mother Nature for how much she's given us. I started wildlife photography at the age of 10 when I went to Kabini for the first time, and I found my belonging in the jungle. I've been known as the Panther Boy as I spent over 9,000 minutes tracking the sole Black Panther of India, and multiple media channels recognize this feat. As a founder of SPPA, I started it at the age of 8, and I'm one of the youngest founders of an NGO. We've hosted massive campaigns where we've taught over 6,000 rural students the importance of global warming and climate change, and we've partnered with Koti Vriksha Abhiyan to help plant over 1 crore trees in the district of Vijayapur. Being an 18-year-old on this platform today, my message goes to the youth. We have been given a plethora of biodiversity and resources from Mother Nature. But today, we must learn to give it back. World Environment Day must not only be celebrated on the 4th of June in order for a change to happen, but it should be celebrated every day for the next few decades. It's crucial for the next few decades. We have to be precise in terms of how we treat Mother Nature and how we use her resources. With me, the other members on this panel have done a lot to do their part to conserve the environment. We have over 30,000 volunteers part of SPPA who have participated through our over 100 events. And today I urge you to do your part. Your part as a person on this planet, your part to save our one collective home that we call Earth. The pandemic has been the most recent attention. The pandemic taught us two perspectives. One, the underprivileged who are facing issues by the economy and foundations like Vimovi who are helping them. And then there's Mother Nature who's healing as there's less pollution, less traffic, less cars, less resources being utilized. The pandemic showed me two perspectives. One, that we need to help humanity. And the second was that animals also faced zero help. Stray dogs and stray animals that had no food. So at SPPA, we fed over 6,000 animals with over 800 kgs of food during the pandemic. In fact, I read a quote by Sir David Attenborough where he recently said, "The pandemic isn't the biggest concern of this decade, but global warming is." So there's a lot to come in the future, and we, the next generation, must make sure that we can prevent it. We have the power. We have the resources. We have social media. We have platforms like these that help us share our knowledge and share our views to help one another and work in unison. Coexistence is key for this planet to survive, the one planet we call home. So this World Environment Day, take a pledge. Support me, support Vimovi Foundation into making this world a better place for nature and humanity. We must coexist. Thank you, and I thank Vimovi Foundation for giving me this opportunity to address all of you today. I hope you have some good takeaways, and I hope we can save this planet together. Thank you.
I am Renuka, Chief Sustainability Officer and co-founder at ICO. Let me take you through my journey of being an environmentalist and an entrepreneur. While I was working in an MNC, I got to attend a couple of cleanathons where I got to understand the problem of waste management. A lot of waste is being sent to landfills. The root cause of this is that waste is not being segregated at home. If done right, a lot of it can be avoided from being sent to landfills. Now, creating awareness and educating is a key to solve waste management problem and other environmental problems. With that as our vision, we started ICO, a social platform where you can find and join local communities, invite your friends, discuss and share your sustainable efforts, no matter how big or small. You can also track your habits like composting, growing your own plants, using public transport, anything actually. We want to make sustainability fun so that many people join and be more sustainable. Hence, the entire app is gamified. Currently, Iku is available on Play Store. It's an Android app. Along with that, we have also set up community leaf composters. We are also working with NGOs inclined towards our vision to help their volunteers be engaged and do sustainable activities even during lockdown. We are also working on a concept called Green Wall. It's a vertical structure made out of upcycled plastic bottles to grow greens and small plants. Now, talking about the current pandemic, this has lot of us have lost our loved ones. Poor people have lost their lives. Migrant workers are suffering. Economy has gone down. Why did all this happen? One of the major reasons for pandemic is human wildlife conflict. We can avoid future pandemics by avoiding such conflicts. Let's restore forests, which are natural habitats, to wildlife. Let's learn a lesson from this current pandemic and do not repeat such mistakes again. Thank you.
Namaskar, this is Vikramjit Singh Kawa, also known as Max. Waste, it's something that is produced by everyone, by you, by me, as a matter of fact, even by nature. And it's our responsibility to take care of our own waste. Because the problem is that if we don't do that, then our waste will cause problems several fold, such as polluting oceans, polluting land, air pollution, water pollution. There's an endless list of it. But now the question arises, what can we do of that waste? What is the right place to dispose of it? Because even though we know to put in the dustbin, that's not exactly the right place. The right place is to give it to a recycler, to someone who has the knowledge and the proper equipment needed to recycle the product. And that is where we come in. We at Max Exchange offer solutions to not only recycle, but we've gone 2 steps ahead, even upcycling and repurposing the waste that we collect. Now, this waste, what we believe, and some of you might not agree, but it is there, except time, everything is recyclable. And yes, I mean everything. Even if there is not a solution that we can offer, but everything is recyclable. Such as plastic. Plastic is 100% recyclable produce, and something that we believe is humanity's best invention. We just have to use it properly, because the enemy isn't plastic. Plastic does not have a conscience to think, yeah, I'll just pollute the environment. The reason is us, why it's polluting. We have to take care of it properly. Now, moving on, if we were to look at it during the lockdown, before the lockdown and after the lockdown, if you were to compare rivers, they were so polluted. We would see these ad campaigns, help clean Yamuna river, help clean this river, that river. But during the lockdown, when no one did anyone, not the government, no one, the rivers cleaned themselves. That means that nature also wants to be clean, if we can infer it in one way. Or another way to infer it is that we are the reason why the river was being polluted again and again. So why don't we just change? We can be the change we want to be. And we cannot just blame the grown-ups. All of you, I'm just 15 years old. I started this at 9. But there are a lot of people who want to support us. There are a lot of people, the ones who are watching me right now. We can actually do something to make a change. We just want to do it, because that want is the biggest power we humans have. So why not do it? Alright, thank you.
My name is Pooja Rai and I'm an architect from IIT Kharagpur. I started Antil Creations in 2015 with an aim to bring back play by transforming spaces into interactive and sustainable playscapes by upcycling waste material like scrap tires and industrial waste through community mobilization. These playgrounds are completely DIY and can be built in just 4 days. We've impacted over 200,000 children in 18 states of India by transforming 300 such spaces. These playgrounds have helped children in their physical, social, and emotional well being. The playgrounds are contextual to the community and geography and are designed only after rigorous interaction with the community members as to their perception of life and everything. Anthill has transformed communities from a mundane, monotonous routine in slums to a more happier and healthier one. We believe that environment is everyone's responsibility and every company should strive to be environmentally sustainable. We majorly use tires and locally available material which are sustainable while building our playgrounds. Every year, more than 981 million tires are discarded and even less than 7% is recycled. So we use the concept of 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle in our playgrounds. We have seen visible impact that a small playground can have in the overall life of a child. Anthill playscapes have been directly attributed for greater classroom performance, improved attendance rates, reduced violent behavior, better understanding of sustainability. Play is a very powerful medium and helps children in their physical, social, and emotional well-being. We believe that play is not a luxury, it is a necessity for every child. COVID-19 has affected all of our lives. With schools closed, children's learning has completely come to a halt. And more than 90% of the children in India do not have access to digital devices and internet. So we at Anthill came up with a solution for children to play and learn from the safety of their homes. We have designed indoor games which can help children in their overall development. I believe that if all of us make small changes in our everyday lives and strive to create an impact in the society, we will make a better world. Thank you.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ, ನಾನು ಚಿದಾನಂದ ಮೂರ್ತಿ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಗ್ರಾಮಾಂತರ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ ದೊಡ್ಡಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರ ತಾಲೂಕು ಅರ್ಕಾವತಿ ಜಲಾನಯನ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳೆದ 8 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಯುವ ಸಂಚಲನ ತಂಡವನ್ನು ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಾಗಿ ಹಾತೊರಿತಿದ್ದಂಥ ಯುವಜನರು ಸೇರಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಂಥ ತಂಡ ಯುವ ಸಂಚಲನ. ಯುವಜನರ ಹಕ್ಕು, ಮಹಿಳಾ ದೌರ್ಜನ್ಯ ವಿರೋಧಿ, ಪರಿಸರಾತ್ಮಕವಾದಂಥ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಯುವ ಸಂಚಲನ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ. ದೊಡ್ಡಬಳ್ಳಾಪುರದ ಅರಣ್ಯ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಂಡದ ವತಿಯಿಂದ ಇದುವರೆಗೂ 40,000ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ನೆಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಬೆಳೆದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಜನ್ಮದಿನಾಚರಣೆ ಅನ್ನೋವಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಮತ್ತು ನಗರದ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 300ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಆಸಕ್ತರಿಗೆ ದತ್ತು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆಸೋವಂಥ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಿರಂತರವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ 200ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜಾತಿಯ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಸಸ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಂಡು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆಯೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜೀವ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತಾ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಗ್ರಾಮಾಂತರ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ವನಗಳ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ತಂಡ ವಹಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಯಾವಕಿ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ಅಶೋಕವನ, ವೈವಿಧ್ಯವನ, ಔಷಧಿವನ, ಮಹಿಳಾ ಔಷಧಿವನ ಹಾಗೂ ಹನುಮ ಪುಷ್ಪವನ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾದಂಥ ವನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ವೈವಿಧ್ಯಮಯವಾದಂಥ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆಸುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀರಿ. 200 ಜಾತಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸಸ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಳೆಸಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಜೀವ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆಯು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಥರದ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ತಂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ. ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ 600ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜಾತಿಯ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ, ಅಂದರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಪೀಳಿಗೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟು ಆ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡೋಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದರ ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಆ ಸಸ್ಯಗಳು ನೋಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಂಡದ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತಂಡ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಮೊದಲನೇದಾಗಿ ಯುವಜನರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವ ವೈವಿಧ್ಯತೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾವೇನಾದರೂ ಉಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದಾದರೂ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಅಳಿವಿನಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಕಡೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಗಮನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಸುಳ್ಳು. ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಬಿಡುವಿನ ವೇಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದ ಇಷ್ಟು ನಾವೇನು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಹ ನಿಮಗೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ. ಕಾರಣ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರೂ ಫುಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ವರ್ಕರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಯಾವುದೇ ಫಂಡು ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಿಡುವಿನ ವೇಳೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಮನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಇರೋ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದೊಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಕೋವಿಡ್-19 ಈ ವಿಚಾರವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡೋದಾದರೆ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯನ್ನು ಮನುಷ್ಯರು ನಾವು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಆದರೆ ಪ್ರಾಕೃತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದರೆ ತುಂಬ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸರಿಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗದಿರುವಂಥ ತಪ್ಪುಗಳನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿ ಅದಾಗದೇನೆ ಸರಿಪಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಉಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಕಡೆಗಾದರೂ ಗಮನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಹಾಳಾಗೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ತಡಿಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಗಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯಿಂದನೇ ನಾವು ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. ಬಹುಶಃ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸರಿಪಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲಿನ ವಾತಾವರಣವನ್ನು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸಮಾಜವನ್ನು ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರವಾಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳೋದು ಯುವಜನರ ಕರ್ತವ್ಯ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಆರೋಗ್ಯಕರವಾದಂಥ ಸಮಾಜ ಹಾಗೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೊಳೋದು ಸಹ ಯುವಜನರ ಹಕ್ಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ.
Hi everyone, I'm Seher Mansoor. I'm the founder of Bare Necessities. I think the pandemic has been tough on all of us, and I think if it's taught us one thing is that we can all be more compassionate to one another, to the planet, and in turn hopefully help create a more cleaner, more just world. We all know that the World Overshoot Day was pushed back by 3 weeks because of all of the decline in emissions worldwide globally. So I think we all learned that our actions actually matter, and all of us, you and I, can be part of the solution. Just a little bit about what I'm trying to do here in a small way. I'm the founder of Bare Necessities, a sustainable enterprise that creates amazing sustainable products that helps you reduce your waste footprint. Everything from compostable bamboo toothbrushes to stainless steel straws, and some things pretty innovative like these little collapsible coolers. The idea really is to reimagine some green solutions, whether that is, a silicone menstrual cup that you can use, or paper tape instead of the traditional plastic tape. What we've done through our books and educational initiatives and online courses is to try and make all of this information on sustainability really fun and super accessible to everyone. So this book is kind of a celebration of all of the amazing solutions out there, enterprises, entrepreneurs, people doing amazing work in this space, trying to create these solutions. So do check it out. And just, a few concluding thoughts on the pandemic. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves, their family, their loved ones, but also taking care of their teams, whether your business is big or small. Encourage everyone to invest in the welfare of your teammates, whether that is making sure they have access to healthcare, making sure you can book them into some vaccination drive, and just kind of bringing kind of meditation, yoga to the forefront to make sure we're checking in on them mentally, physically, and in all ways possible. So have a great, happy World Environment Day to everyone. And to this amazing Mother Earth that sustains us.
Seven million years ago was when we humans first appeared on this very planet of ours. We couldn't have been more thankful to what the world had to offer to us. It all comes down to one question. Have we as individuals tried looking back on what the world had to offer to us? Every year we keep ourselves motivated with the fact that it's never too late. But this year, Vimove Foundation says it for real, giving you all the opportunity to introspect upon our past doings and probably the reason for the pandemic to come down. Hello and welcome to all our viewers to Alternative 2021 Youth for Nature. This is your moderator, Vedant Shinde. And before we start today's roundtable discussion, I would like to introduce to you our panelists for today. We have with us Seher Mansoor, the founder and CEO of Bare Necessities, Vikramjit Singh Kanwar, the founder and CEO of Max Exchange, Dhruv Patil, the founder and CEO of Society for Protection of Plants and Animals, and last but not the least, Pooja Rai, an author and CEO for a non-profit-based organization that goes by the name Anthill Creations. And now, here's to the voices of the youth. I want to start by welcoming you all for making it here today. We truly appreciate it. So I want to put forward my first question to Pooja Rai. Pooja, you're an entrepreneur by profession. What I want to know is, it goes without saying, nature sustains our economy and our way of living. But how necessary is it for one to make use of the produce from nature to the fullest of its form in order to keep the human race from depleting?
Hi, Vedant. Thank you so much for having me here. Um, if I understand your question correctly, I don't think we need to, use nature to its fullest. Like, what my view is that we need to live in harmony with nature. Like, nature provides us so many things for free, and I think in somewhere like we start taking it for granted, and we start over exploiting it. So uh, we need to think of nature as not just a resource, but like something that we have to live in harmony with. Like, we have to give it back as well. So that's how I see this. We should, like, so what we do at Antil is we basically we use waste material and try to extend its life so that we don't have to use other resources which are in scarcity. So instead of, say, using a wood and cutting a tree and using a wood, we can use something that is a waste and recycle it to make something that can continue to provide the same value as, say, a log of wood would provide.
Well, on that very note, I want to come to Seher Mansoor to my next question. But before that, Seher, you have been termed as the most inspiring woman by Google India. So how hard has the pandemic been on you in order to go around inspiring people as a whole? And I ask you this because these are times people look forward to it the most.
Thanks, Vedant. Thanks for that, making me sound way cooler than I am. But honestly, I think this year has been, or year and a half has been so difficult on so many levels for small businesses, for livelihoods, for on just like health, on loss, on grieving. I mean, I think on so many levels it's been so difficult. But I think what has brought me a little bit of hope in the glimpses of all of this is that to see that the environment is really healing through this. We've seen that with all of us being at home, less cars being on the road, global emissions have come down. We've seen that the World Earth Overshoot Day, which usually is kind of this point where we've kind of explored and kind of used so many resources, was postponed by 3 weeks for the first time in I don't know how many decades. I think the Himalayas were visible from hundreds of kilometers for the first time in 3 decades. We could hear the koals again. All of us have kind of commented on the clean skies. And I think that is what kind of gives me hope, that the environment is capable of healing, and all of us were able to kind of witness this, and that our actions have a little bit of power, and we have the ability to make huge impact on the environment by just being a little bit more mindful.
Well, so moving on to a question with respect to what Pooja had to say. Seher, Bare Minimum is the name of your organization that deals with manufacturing of sustainable products. But what part fascinates me the most is the presentation put forward towards these sustainable products, which seems not only eye-catching towards youngsters, but people of all age group. So do you consider it a task to be able to convince people to adopt sustainable means of living by enhancing product quality and product style?
Yeah, I think sustainable products have become quite the rage. They're like Instagram trends and whatnot. But I think it's so important to remember to make the quality at the heart of what we do, and integrity of product is so important because you have the chance of actually deterring people from moving into a sustainable lifestyle if you don't do that. So, for example, just stainless steel, if it's not certified, it's not kind of 3304 completely certified stainless steel, maybe it could get rust, and maybe someone does it, and then that whole trend about moving towards reducing a straw would kind of have gone to a toss, and our plastic consumption will just kind of keep mounting. So I think there's a lot of responsibility to make sure you are designing products with a lot of integrity, not only of the complete product and how cute and stylish and whatever it is, but also integrity of how you source it. How much are people getting paid? Are we getting fair wages? Do they have access to healthcare in this worst health pandemic that we are going through? How are we getting the products? Are they packaged in a sustainable manner? is it really from the producers, farmers directly? So I think it's the whole gamut of things we really have to be mindful of in order to make sure that we are living our values, thinking about social, economic parts of the solution, and also being fun and accessible and stylish to the consumer to finally use.
Well, now moving on, I want to keep on hold the discussion for sustainability at the moment. And I want to bring in Dhruv Patil into the discussion. But before I move ahead with my question, Dhruv, you have been considered as the founder of and CEO of Society for Protection of Plants and Animals. You are also a very passionate wildlife photographer here. So have you been able to get a click or two out in the wild lately, or has the pandemic put that on hold as of now?
I guess because we just crave for creativity, I think definitely I haven't been able to go to the jungles because it's the law, right? Because it's lockdown. I'm not able to go out. I'm not able to go into the forest. The forests are shut. But like we find opportunity wherever we can. And especially, I think, as Sahar said, right, we hear the koals in Bangalore now. So it's like this pandemic has brought in so much life into these birds, like bulbuls and sunbirds. They're all back into the city. And like, even in like the most urban areas of Bangalore, you can still see rose-ringed parakeets coming back. So I think if I've not clicked a panther or a tiger in this lockdown, I've definitely been able to click some amazing birds that have come into the city.
Well, so here's to all the young budding photographers. Your creativity is not limited to wildlife; it's the whole world. But moving on to my question, Dhruv, to you, considering the fact that the pandemic has come into existence and has probably made betterment in our environment in some aspects, in the last 1.5 year, the problem still remains as to what we humans have done over the last 50 years with respect to rapid growth in human consumption, population, global trade, and urbanization. That doesn't just change in the last 1.5 year, which it has resulted in excessive consumption of Earth's resources. So, do you feel at this pace, reserve wildlife sanctuaries and forests would end up being compromised?
I mean, as you said, right, the damage has been done over the past few decades, and it's not just now. And I consider this pandemic as just a speed breaker because emissions have just reduced. But I think overall, what it comes up to is us youth, the next generation, stepping forward into like actually making an impact, educating people on why it's necessary to conserve and like reduce emissions and everything. Because what has been done, the damage is excessive, and the impact that we have to make is not as one or like a foundation or like two foundations doing it, but it has to be the world realizing that we're running out of resources, and we need to give back to Mother Nature. And in terms of compromising the wildlife sanctuaries being compromised, I think considering the pandemic and everything, I feel like it has a market of its own. Photographer like me, despite like as soon as lockdown opened, the first thing I did is go to Kabini because that's like my safe place, and I feel home when I'm in the jungle. So I feel like the crowd it has is very different, and especially the government these days is doing a lot to realize that these national parks are necessary to our economy, as well as the publicity that we youth are creating around wildlife and animals, saying, like everyone is showing compassion towards animals, and that I feel has a really big impact into like people not compromising national parks.
So Dhruv, what you're saying is 50 years before was not such a big impact to what can be done. But as you see youth, as me and you see it, do you think there's a hope 50 years down the line to see a huge amount of change towards sustainability and better means of living?
I mean, for 50 years, you have to work tirelessly. We cannot take this lightly, right? Because the damage that's been done over the past few decades, as I said, is like it's immense. And we youth have the resources, especially social media coming into play, which we share all our information through. So I think we should utilize that for the good. And over the next 50, 60 years, I think we have a huge responsibility that we bear, and it's inevitable that we all have to be a part of it.
Well, with that, I want to get back to the subject of sustainability. And I would now like to bring in Vikramjit Singh Kanwar into the discussion. But before I ask Vikram the question, I want to let all my viewers know that Vikram's profile was one of those profiles which fascinated me the most. Vikram, you are 15, 16 years old, and you have your own company that goes by Max Exchange, which correct me if I'm wrong, you take into consideration of wet and dry products and waste, and you turn them into furniture finished goods. Is that right, Vikram?
Yes.
So what
Firstly, I'd like to
Firstly, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to this lovely session and the opportunity to meet all these brilliant people that are working in similar fields. Now, regarding your question, see what we do. So actually, it started as a school project. I mean, I'd like to thank my school and my IB board for it. So it started out by doing something for the environment, as it was necessary to just graduate. So I started off by simply collecting newspapers from, for example, my friends' houses, then my society, and then I slowly got to my mom's, for example, corporate offices or something. But then that was I was supposed to only do it for around 3 months. That's what I had in mind previously. But then people started saying, after the 3 months, come again to collect it. And then they started saying, instead of newspapers, starting all of our papers. And then they're saying, instead of papers, starting everything. So I'm like, okay, hold on. Yes, I understand you want me to take it, but I have to know what to do with it myself. And then I realized, because I mean, I was still in fifth grade, I realized that, because we were learning about, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So I'm like, why not do that? And then I did some research on it because of our IB nature. And then I realized that instead of just the 3 hours, that's the basic, of course, that is something that we have to implement. But we can go 2 steps ahead. We can do upcycling and repurposing. And that is mainly what Max Exchange is about. So we started off by simply rolling the newspaper onto lead and making it into pencil. First it was done by hand. Now we're doing it by machines. And like that, now we have a range of around 250 plus products. And every single item that we collect, whether it is paper, whether it is plastic, glass, cardboard, metal, any and everything, we use it to make something unique. I mean, you can go to Pinterest, you can go to anywhere. Ideas just flow, and we start thinking of the possibilities that can happen from just simply what people call waste. Because what we believe is something I learned. There's a cycle to everything. There's a continuous cycle that will always happen. If just we have to look into it. That except time, everything is recyclable, and I mean everything. So that's how mainly the idea behind this project started.
Well, Vikram, with that, I have one more question in mind. Max Exchange, when it was first started, I'm pretty sure it is something that came new into concept and a lot of people would be taking interest. But since the pandemic, have you been able to make pretty much sellings and like a decent enough audience to target to? Or do you have an online profile to which people can still connect to?
Well, the main thing is, I mean, before the lockdown, of course, as you said, there are a lot of people who are enthusiastic about it. So we got a good number of people to join us and help, move on the project. But actually, what happened during lockdown was, for the first, we thought the lockdown would be only there for around a month or two, maybe maximum 3 months. So what we told people is, because we were already, educated people and we had motivated them, so they started holding on to their recyclables for quite a while. Because if you look at it from point view wise, the recyclables quantity, it was obviously a bit higher, but the value was slightly lower because we determine it upon the value. So what we did, we kept the operations on hold for a while. But after that, people started saying, no, you just have to collect it. Then, thanks to the government, we also did get a proper license, and then we started our operations again. Of course, maintaining all regulations and proper safety of not only the customers but especially of our own team. So even though there was obviously a slight hold, just like it was for the whole world, we did move on, and people they were very supportive, and they were even ready to keep their stuff at their own houses for 2 to 3 months, wherein they had difficulties for just 15 days.
Well, that's great, Vikram. So now I want to jump into my question to you. So the concern of putting waste, which can be sustainably equipped, to a loss is of major concern. For instance, burning of paper, plastic, or even burning down of an entire forest due to specifically intentional reasons is nothing but a big loss to mankind. But what we tend to see is that majority of people don't see the seriousness in this. Why I ask you this question is because you know the value of these very resources and to what good it can be put to. So what message do you want to put out there to get people to realize the value of these precious resources that are going to waste?
See, like I said, except time, everything is recycled. And but this is our own world. But it's not like the world is of the previous generation that have already gone. It's our thing, and we are going to be the ones living. I mean, I personally, I'm pretty sure a lot of you share the same feelings. I don't like wearing a mask. when I go out, instead of two, I don't even want to wear one mask. But it's a necessity now because we have to take care not only our health, of everyone's health around us. And if we just, right now we're looking at the short-term, consequences. But slowly, I mean, if everyone has learned about it, heard about it, and we all know it at a subconscious that keeping the environment in check, protecting the environment, and maintaining all these things is extremely important, not just for our generation, for the future generations. Now, instead of playing the blame game and saying the previous generations did that, and for 5 decades this has been happening, right? We've got a break. Let's use this golden opportunity to do something. Before the lockdown, the rivers were completely polluted. Now there's a lot of clean. And like this, I mean, as Dhruvji also said, even a lot of birds have been started showing up. So why not use this opportunity? Because we have such, we got such great opportunity to use and realize the essence of our resources. And if we even go one step ahead, we can also see there is gold in even waste. So why not make proper use of it?
Well, with that, I want to ask the same question to Seher. Seher, as a practitioner of sustainable living, how personally do you take to heart the occurrence of such massive forest fires as a complete waste of our resources? Because let's face it, the 2020 Amazon fire, the Australian bushfire, Uttarakhand forest fire, all these forest fires have happened in the last 2 years and has taken close to 5 hectares of forest burned. So how personally do you take this to heart, and what would you suggest to the people?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, forest fires, floods, all of the amount of kind of natural disasters that we're seeing are at this completely unprecedented rate. And of course, all of the science is there to back it up that anthropogenic, like human kind of actions on this planet is like a huge result of what we're doing. So I think, for so long, we've just been exploiting our planet and these resources and the ecosystem at this like crazy, unprecedented rate. It's meant to say that every 3 seconds, we as a world lose about enough forest cover that covers a football pitch or a football field, right? And I think over the century, we've destroyed, I want to say, half of our wetlands. More than 50% of our coral reefs have already kind of been lost. And there is predictions that scientists say that we're going to lose up to 90% of it, even if we keep our emissions under the 1.5. So I think this is already overwhelming. All of the science is out there. But what we do know is that our actions have a huge impact. So can we be a little bit more mindful? Can we reduce our waste? Can we plant trees? For our birthdays, can we do a huge tree planting drive with our families? What are we doing to help restore and conserve this ecosystem? Because I think this World Environment Day, the theme is ecosystem restoration, and I think it is so poignant and timely, right? I think it means we are trying to prevent, we're trying to halt, but also trying to reverse all of the damage that has been done. And we are doing this so we can stop exploiting nature, but let it heal, and kind of be very mindful about what actions that we can do as individuals to kind of contribute to this restoration and this process of healing. So I'm hopeful that we're all the world in this post-pandemic world is going to be way more empathetic, and all of us are going to be really excited to kind of be part of the solution to have a greener, cleaner, and just more just world. So I'm trying to be pretty optimistic.
Well, moving on, according to my source, it is stated only about 4% of globally occurring forest fires are due to natural causes. For example, increase in high temperature, drought, storms, lightning, volcanic eruptions. Whereas 95%, the rest remaining, it is deliberately caused by humans. And I'll give you certain instances for need of clearing by burning, carelessness, bonfires, and matches, and so on. So I want to come to Dhruv Patil right now. Dhruv, after taking all these scenarios into consideration, can we see a straight-end solution by making sure the government intervenes in these matters like this? Because if wildlife sanctuaries could be built for security purposes, like I don't think it is such a big harm to have security checks in all visitors, because I feel it's these small steps that prevent big situations like these. What are your thoughts?
So basically, as you said, yeah, wildfires, especially my second home, Kabini, had one last year itself. And forest fires have been one of the greatest threats to wildlife and the sanctuaries themselves. And I feel the government is definitely doing its part in trying to protect these reserves. because it's sort of irrational if you want them to guard every feet or every square kilometer of the forest, because it's not possible, right? They do not have the man-force to implement that. So I feel, especially because of the importance people are giving to these wildlife sanctuaries now, that like if you see Tadoba, which was on the rise a couple of years ago because of its tiger population, and we take Ranthambore, Jim Corbett, one of the greatest national parks of India, they have so much emotions of people connected to them that definitely the government is taking steps to prevent these wildfires. But as I said, every square kilometer cannot be guarded. And I feel like one solution, one of the greatest solutions to this is I'd like to bring Vimovi here, because Vimovi Foundation is into helping rural people and educating rural people. So I think education is the most important factor in these rural areas, especially the villages near these national parks, where we must explain to them the importance of the ecological surrounding they have around them. The wildlife, like let's say tigers and leopards in Kabini, and there's villages around Kabini, like you need to explain to these rural populations and why it is necessary to conserve it and not destroy it. Because usually all these wildfires, majority of them, that what I have heard is usually a revenge plan, because a tiger has probably taken a cattle away, or it's usually these petty cases where where wildlife taking its place, like a tiger killing a cattle for its own stomach, is making mankind rage and like set fires to almost half a forest. So I feel educating these people, the people around these national parks, I think the government should do that, right? Rather than protecting every square kilometer, rather educate the rural people, saying, you're around such a sensitive area, you're around such a pristine area, and you're supposed to conserve it rather than, destroying it. I feel that's my view on trying to reduce wildfires rather.
Well, as informative and insightful that was, Dhruv, like how many of us did know that actually revenge seeking is a factor that is put in forest? What do the animals know? Just the basic life cycle that goes through. And we humans take it way too personally of our basic laws. But as informative as it was, yet again, you guys, our viewers have another reason to subscribe to the link below for Vimovi Foundation. But with that, moving on to our last question for the day. I have a small question for all the panelists here today. So I guess I'll get to ask each one of you one by one in one word. So the question is, what do you think is the main reason for the occurrence of climate change? And I'll give before you guys answer that, I want to give 5 seconds to our viewers to answer that below. And here we are, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The time's up, but pandemic isn't. So first, I would like to start by asking Seher, what do you think is the main reason for climate change to happen?
I think anthropogenic causes, all of our human actions.
Okay. Vikram, do you have any answer different to it?
I just say it's because we took too much time to realize our own mistakes.
Okay, that's a pretty vast description to that. It can be a lot of answers again. Dhruv, what is your answer to it?
I agree with the panelists as well. I guess it's human actions, undoubtedly.
Human actions. But is there any one thing you guys have in particular? Like, there are a lot of reasons for climate change. What is that one thing that you guys think for sure? So, Pooja, I want to come to you. What do you think is the answer for the occurrence of climate change?
I completely agree with what the panelists are saying, but I think like as we're progressing, right, like the definition of development needs to change, and it is definitely human actions. And I also believe that we do have the power to, protect our environment as well. So, I mean, we have advanced in terms of technology, in terms of innovation. We just need to be a little more conscious, like what are we doing it for?
Well, the answers were pretty much on the same lines. I mean, all of you are pretty right, human actions. But the biggest cause of those human actions is the burning of fossil fuel. So my question is going to be on the very lines. And the question is going to go to Pooja Rai. Pooja, it goes without any doubt that alternatives are a possibility for a number of usages towards the same. It's probably the fact that money and capital play a big factor for the same. But how much of an estimate could you give us till things settle down? Because we have big businessmen like Elon Musk, who has brought in Tesla into the picture in order to have sustainable and greener methods to live. So how long do you think it will take for people to adopt it in such a big population? And what kind of difference do you see?
So, I mean, if you just look at numbers, right? Like I'm an architect, and construction industry is one of the industries which produces a huge amount of waste. Like 600 million tons of waste is generated every year. We use tires in our playgrounds. There are 980 million tires which are discarded every each year. And where is all of this going, right? Like we only have one Earth, and a lot of these things. I completely agree with what Vikramjit was saying. A lot of these things are recyclable, and if we look at Earth like it is our home, right? You are generating waste and it's piling up, and we have to start taking some of it and start reusing it in some way. And I think with the current technologies that we have, there are ways to recycle things like plastic, construction waste, and we need to develop more such technologies so that we can reuse, recycle a lot more material. And in terms of like the material that we are using in building things, or the energy that we are using, right? Like you mentioned, we have electric cars coming up, which will become a norm, hopefully in the future, because there is only limited resources that the earth has, and if we do not think of alternative ways, alternative material, then I think the resources will deplete very quickly, and we won't have time to then reverse this, this crazy change that is happening in the world. But I also feel that it is each one of us, like it is the responsibility of each one of us to make these small changes. It won't happen that one big company will make some big change, or government will make one policy change and everything will be right. I feel, companies, innovators, individuals, and government, all of us have to come together to make some of these alternatives a norm. We still don't have people who have adapted to this alternative material or alternative technologies that are available.
Very true, Pooja. I completely agree with it. So, with this, all I can say is that our discussion has come to an end. And as much as an insight I have received from sharing this beautiful discussion with all my fellow panelists here, there are also some takeaways that are to be brought into the picture with respect to the topic of this roundtable discussion: the pandemic role of youth in restoration of eco balance. And that is the fact it is easier to make basic changes within our lifestyle towards the environment over waiting for a pandemic to do so. It just goes with the same reference to us doing bit from bit from the very beginning rather than studying a whole book before exam. Well, jokes apart, it is all in the hands of the youth today in the development of shaping our future for a better tomorrow. Now, there's only one thing left to say. And I'd like to quote what Scarlett Johansson said from the movie Lucy. Life was given to us 7 million years ago. I guess now we know what to do with it. And only difference is for real this time. I'd also like to say I truly appreciate all my panelists being here today, and most importantly, to all my fellow viewers. And before you leave, do not forget to subscribe to Vimove Foundation's YouTube channel. Do follow us on our social media handouts as well. And with this, now I can proudly say that this has been your host, Vedant Shinde, signing off.